All right, everybody, welcome to Superhero Stuff You Should Know. This is Andrew, the guy that knows too much about video games on this podcast anyway. And this time I'm joined by...
This is Ben, and, Andrew's video game podcast coverage is giving us an ideal to strive for, so we are going to join him in the sun.
Well, great
In
copy.
the meantime...
Yes, it's me, back to talk about Superman's video games. It's Zachary Jackson Brown Esquire the third.
He got dressed up for this one.
Yes.
He put on
I
his
knew
best
Andrew
attire.
was going to give me shit the minute I got on the camera. I, unlike his, I don't know what Andrew does, his photography work, I was out working in the yard this afternoon like a man. So
Aren't
I'm
you on
still
Zoom
wearing
all the
what I
time?
was. What?
Don't you teach on Zoom for a living?
I'm not teaching right now. This is my last day of vacation. I was
You've
soaking
been
it up
vacationing
outside.
like a man?
That's right. So I'm
Working in
wearing
his yard.
my Jaws shirt today.
Okay. Then we got another teacher here with us, actually. It's old Japan buddy,
Hey.
Mike. Mike is
Hey.
here.
So yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I after playing all these games, I might have wished that you invited me on a different show, but it should be good anyhow.
Yeah, some of these are pretty painful. But yeah, Mike taught English with me in Japan when I lived there for 3 years. You had already been there for 3 years or something by the time I got there, right?
So I actually had some non-consecutive time there. I was there in 2001 with the JET program.
I
right
forgot
out of
about that.
college, and then I came back to America and found that America was pretty much in a bad way, but it still kind of is as a result of 9/11 and all. And I did some teaching in New York for a while, but then I decided to go back to Japan, and I went back in I think March of 2005. So it was
Okay.
just about a year ahead, I think, before you came in again.
That's right. I was 06 to 09. Okay, cool. Yeah, and like many people that go to Japan, we kind of got our love for Japan from video games in the 90s.
It's
So-
the softest power.
Yeah, yeah, Japan soft power. That's right. That Matt Alt talks about. Yeah. So one way to connect all these interests is doing superhero video game stuff, and this time we're going to rank every Superman video game. Okay, as painful as that's going to be, and I will like to say at the top of this that it probably won't be everyone ever, because let's say, like, for example, Superman Returns came out for PS2 but also Nintendo DS and all that shit. We're just going to do the PS2 version for that one and so on. And we're actually going to skip the PC games because I grew up mainly a console gamer. There aren't that many anyway for Superman. And sorry if you really love Superman Activity Center in 1998, but we're going to be
one
skipping
person
that
out
one.
there.
I mean, maybe we could do a separate show for the activity center.
Yeah.
It'll be for the Patreon.
We'll do a different one. So, yeah. Oh, the other thing to bring up is this is going to be games in which Superman is a main character. So we're kind of skipping games like Injustice and anything else. He's kind of like DC Online or whatever. He's in it, but he's not the main focus. So we're skipping those kind of games. And we are going to be using this tier system that you've seen online. S is at the top, which I think is a Japanese influence also, being S.
Yeah, didn't you see the kids' report cards when we were over there?
It's S at the top, right?
Nah, I'm just kidding, man. I don't
Okay.
know.
What does S mean?
It's definitely imported from Japan's like arcade scene with fighting games and stuff like that. But and you could play like Devil May Cry and find the S rank in Triple S. I don't know where the hell that comes from though.
I think Super, but the thing is, yeah, I first noticed this when playing Pilot Wings on Super Nintendo. And I remember thinking,
I was never good enough for that.
even when I was a kid, I was like, S above A? What is going on here? And now we see it on internet culture to this day. So it must have some lasting power. It sounds like an old man conversation at this point. The kids are just fucking accepting the S, I bet.
It's not an S. In my world,
Yes.
it stands for hope.
That's true. It's the hope category. hope there were more games like this. Okay. All right, let's get into it. So the first Superman video game ever was Superman for the Atari 2600 in 1979. Superman is an action-adventure game for Atari 2600 designed by John Dunn and published by Atari in 1979. This seems so old. Anything before the 80s for video games, man, it's like, wow, that existed.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, they did. There was a scene even at that time. This was one of the first single-player games for the system, and it was one of the earliest licensed video games. Lex Luthor is the villain in this. He destroys a bridge in the first level, and Clark Kent must go to the phone booth and then change. You do this manually, by the way. It's not a cutscene.
You open up the shirt manually. You're just like, all right, right hand on this side of the shirt, left hand on the other, and then like rip.
Well, generally it would be like a cutscene in modern day gaming.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to watch the fucking bridge blow up and then go left on the other screen to the fucking phone booth, and then you change, and then you get Atari graphic Superman that you're seeing in the
I'm
YouTube
seeing this
version.
now, and I'm like,
Wow.
wait a minute. So his head is also orange?
And his feet are orange.
Okay, this is the thing we got to bring up for people our age too, and anybody younger than us listening to this. Our video gaming for our age, and I think Mike's the same way. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike.
I'm 41.
You're 41. Okay, well, NES was ground zero for gaming for me. Graphics for me
I started
begin.
with Atari.
Oh, you started with Atari? Okay.
Yeah.
To me, graphics begin with the Nintendo. So to see graphics worse than that, it's kind of eye-popping in a bad way.
Yeah. I mean, I got, I think it was the 5200,
Okay.
a hand-me-down from my older sisters. And Pac-Man was pretty good on that, but things looked pretty rough. So like where I really got into stuff around, Sega Master System's time frame, 85, 86 or whatever it was. But I had these other things. It wasn't until that generation of consoles that it was really interesting to me.
It didn't really pick up until that point, right?
Yeah. Nintendo was what revised the console market.
Yeah. That's a whole other podcast, but yeah, there was actually a console crash at the time, and Nintendo saved it. But anyway,
games like this.
Yeah, games like this were coming out. Yeah. So Luthor has kryptonite traps in this game, apparently. Lois Lane is also in the game. You have to repair the bridge. You have to put crooks in jail. And then you get back to the Daily Planet in time for the next adventure. He has his strength. He's got his X-ray vision. He's got flight.
You can't see any of it except for flight.
I mean, yeah, it's really pixelated. It's more than you could ever imagine. I mean, younger people are probably like, what is this?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to be young to be like, what? This is the Superman game?
I had to go online to try and look at the manual to figure out anything of what I was looking at. I did not understand the premise. I didn't know what he was doing. I was like, what just happened there?
I don't even see a bridge.
The bridge is in the beginning.
Yeah, you're just flying through random levels with magenta skies and turquoise skies.
It is wild, yeah. It's wild, but
see, that's clearly a bridge.
the bridge is in the beginning. So
I see the little phone booth.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
best
he's
part
got
of
a
the game.
hat. He's got like a little
A
yellow
yellow hat and yellow shoes.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the most exciting part, probably,
Lex
is
Luthor's
when he changes.
Lex Luthor's like a naked stick figure or something in this.
Yeah, Atari, they were trying, man, real hard. Yeah. This was one of the first games to feature a pause button also. This was new at the time. This is how far back it goes. You press a select switch on the Atari 2600 and it would pause it. It was the first video game ever to depict a simulated kiss scene.
What?
Superman gets a kiss from Lois Lane.
An individual with breast on there, so is that a woman?
My eyes
How
just
do you
went
know there was a
straight to it.
kiss? You can't even see their
It was
lips.
a Atari motorboat scene. So
Is that
seconds,
who
you
you're
see his
carrying
little
now?
head
Is that
in
a
her
woman?
breasts.
it increases his energy levels.
I think
So yeah,
And they say Superman's not relatable.
this game was built using the prototype code for Warren Robinette's Adventure, which ended up being published before Adventure was finished. Adventure was kind of big now because that was kind of like the initial thing for Ready Player One, a huge plot element for that book and movie. So yeah, probably one of the first video game RPGs in that way as well. Yeah, Retro Gamer credits it among action adventure games as the first to utilize multiple screens as a playing area. Okay, and also one of Lex's henchmen has a brown square for a head instead of pink. This nameless villain may be the first African American video game character. Lots of firsts here, guys.
I'm not convinced. I think somebody just screwed up.
It could have been.
Maybe he's wearing
Okay.
a brown mask. We don't
Right?
know.
We don't know.
It's supposed to be Darkseid. Come on.
Decent reviews.
either
It
way,
had
that's
decent.
not positive representation.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's not.
true.
He's also a villain, so it's not great. But anyway, it had decent reviews at the time. Norman Howe. I don't know who this is particularly, but maybe this guy's famous in those circles. But Norman Howe reviewed Superman in The Space Gamer 31, commented that
This is the best Atari game I have seen yet. It's playable, enthralling, and has excellent graphics. If you don't want to buy the game, at least try to find someone who will let you play it. It's very good.
woo, had some low standards back then.
At the time, I'm
Back
sure it was
then-
exciting.
It
Yeah,
was the
that's true.
ideal to strive for at the time.
All right, so now it's time to rank Superman for
I think we're
Atari
gonna need more
2600.
space on the bottom.
Yeah, we might. Superman for Atari's 2600. What are we giving this, guys?
Let me give F a few rows instead of just one.
Now wait, let me see. Are we judging it against the other games or as a game?
The way I would judge it personally is a game released against games at that time. You can't fucking compare Atari 2600 to Injustice or whatever the fuck. It's just not going to happen. So just try to have 1979 in your minds. Other Atari, Pac-Man's out. Pac-Man's obviously a better game. Galaga's a better game. All those kind of games are much better than Superman. We all know that. But yeah, those are the kind of games that are out at the time. Cubert might have been a little bit later, but it's still that kind of vibe, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
We'll try.
I'm gonna give it a D, just because
Oh.
I don't know. I just want to. They tried. I'm giving it a D. We're gonna average it together. By the way, I don't know how we'll average
Okay.
letters, but my personal score is it gets a D.
I would agree with that.
All right.
Just based off of what we saw with the stick figures.
I'm gonna give it a C
Wow. Much better
because
than I expected.
I like the colors and I like that you had to manually go into the phone booth to change.
Uh-oh.
I think that's interesting.
Yes, it's
That
enough,
was my favorite part of it too, actually.
and it's right in the beginning, so that's nice, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I mean, if I'm thinking back to the time of like 1979, when I would have to take my horse out to Sears to get a video game, I think I was thinking C, but maybe B is more like it. And
That high?
Yeah. You know what? And in terms of 1979 on the Atari 2600, which is really rough hardware, I'm gonna go with a B.
Okay, so we're gonna average this at a C, maybe.
Looks like.
We're
Looks
giving.
like it.
Wow, this is an upset.
Respectable.
All right, so we're giving this a C. Moving forward, I can't believe we got that high. That's amazing. Okay.
Richard Pryor, that's who it was in the game.
No, I don't. This is a different game. But
Oh, okay.
you're being racist. But also, this
I
is
was
probably
using
just
context clues.
context clues to be racist. No,
I didn't.
It was a Mike. Welcome to the podcast. That it was like a couple years after Pong, so I guess maybe that's part of why it got good reviews. But all right, so this next one is Atari 5200 game in 1983, and some people out there from this time are like, "What?" And you're right, because this is an unreleased game. And
okay. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it like, what?
Yeah.
I don't recognize that.
The plot was supposed to be based on the Superman 3 plot. It went unreleased because the movie didn't do well.
You don't say.
So, yeah.
I've heard.
They had this to say about the game.
When the first Superman movie was released, it met with wide acclaim as a faithful adaptation of the classic comic book series. Shortly afterwards, Atari, then owned by Time Warner, who just also happened to own DC Comics, released the first Superman game for the Atari 2600. Much like the first movie, this game, programmed by John Dunn, also met with positive reviews. Unfortunately, by the time the third Superman movie rolled around, the series had gone downhill, making a game based on a bad movie.
Okay. Great. Thank you for that, man. All right. From the Bronx.
Represent.
All right. So also Superman represent. Superman 3 also had a video game sequence in it. And it had like kind of like Superman, it had Super Nintendo level graphics, which was almost 10 years ahead of its time. I guess it might have been, I mean, yeah, they did pretty good graphics for this sequence. And maybe they were trying to have a kind of tie-in. The graphics on Atari 5200 wouldn't even have been this good. Like, these are really good graphics for 83 in this sequence for Superman 3, but I guess it just didn't happen because like everyone knows, by the time I got to the third one, just wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen Superman 3, and I don't know
either,
if this makes me want to see it anymore.
All right. So we can't really do with the Atari 5200 game. It wasn't even fucking released. So
Automatic F.
Automatic F.
I give the cover art a D. Richard Pryor didn't look quite like Richard Pryor.
Okay, so the next one that came out in 1985 was for the Commodore 64 Amstrad, an Atari 400-800, which I think was an upgrade, even though it has a lower number. It was there wasn't there like an Atari that was a little bit more like a PC? It was trying to be like a Commodore kind of thing.
I don't know what the year was, but my cousin had an Atari XT, and I think that was meant to be kind of an intermediary console and PC. But I don't know about the 400-800.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, that's what it has. That's what I have down here for that. It was a video game designed by Fernando Herrera, published in the U.S. by First Star Software, mainly for Commodore 64, I think, in America. And in this game, Superman battles to save the world, as he usually does. I have some other covers here. I thought the art for this one was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Like kind of like a cool vintage look. Like maybe not vintage in 85. Very pink. This is another cover that it shows that the villain for this game was Darkseid, actually. Although there's the graphics for this you're going to see, even though it's a little bit later.
Strong likeness.
But
yeah, and
just
this
as good as the Snyder Cut version of Darkseid.
Yeah.
It's that level of graphics.
And if you remember from our Batman video game episode, the ZX Spectrum and games of that era, some of them came on actual cassette tapes. I think this is Amstrad, and Amstrad was, I think, on the same par as the ZX or ZX Spectrum. So yeah, the graphics just weren't that great, but we're gonna take a look here. So it's 1985, and they were trying real hard, like I said, like I always say, but in this game, Darkseid thirsts for universal domination, but he needs the anti-life formula. It doesn't say equation. This awesome key is imprinted on the minds of certain humans. Darkseid is on Earth now and plots a reign of terror to achieve his ends. Only Superman can stop him.
So is Darkseid this green guy that we just see?
I don't think
I'm
so.
confused.
I think I played the Amstrad version of this, which looked markedly better, actually.
Oh, yeah?
And Darkseid at least had colors that were recognizable, but the ZX, I think, only had, 4 colors? So.
Yeah. It didn't have a lot. There was some that were just monochrome, like black and white.
It looked like a green astronaut. Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
the green person in this game moving, or is it this blue person?
The blue is Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
That was an overhead view of Superman.
It's an amazing
Okay.
game.
And now
Yeah,
the
you see
side
his cape
green
there.
one is
Darkseid?
flying, and the green one is Darkseid.
Oh, there's another turquoise person too.
Yeah, who's that? supposed to
Someone you save, I think.
The
the
minds
object.
of,
That
they're in the
one's
minds of the
Spider-Man.
people or whatever.
be?
That's the
Oh,
people.
right.
Okay, I
It's
see
Granny Goodness
Superman
Zack.
now from the side. Yeah, when he's
Yes.
flying, it's like
Yeah, yeah,
the silhouette.
that's
So
fine.
The overhead's
Superman,
not as clear. Yeah.
yeah, Superman's kind of turquoise. Yeah, I thought he was like a flame or a monster or something.
He looks like the Starship Enterprise or something when he's going that direction.
Yeah,
The object of the game is to save citizens of Metropolis or lure them
green
to your
rocks.
underground lair playing as Darkseid. You can play as Darkseid as well.
wow.
Yeah. The game ends when there are no more citizens running around or one of the player's energy bars is fully drained. The winner is the player who has saved or lured the most citizens at this point.
Are you in this
So-
part of the game for the people that are at home? It looks like he's flying over the city. Superman's turquoise, solid color, and there's a purple helicopter dropping green rocks down. Is he supposed to be catching the green rocks? Because I thought that was kryptonite or something.
Yeah.
He's
didn't
avoiding
think about the
asteroids,
colors here.
maybe.
But he's catching them. It looks like he's like
It's catching.
Yeah, yeah.
Or at
It
least
looks like he was
purposely.
trying to.
Well, you know what? Dan Herrera? No, Fernando. Why did I get that name, Dan? Fernando Herrera? If you're out there, let us know. Because, yeah, we're not totally sure.
Super
I only
slowly
play
dying throughout this game.
kind of thing, the overhead map.
1985 game. So what are we giving that one?
I'm gonna give it an E.
Yeah, what the hell is E supposed to be?
E for everybody.
Worse than D, but better than F.
Yes, it's just I don't even know why we skip it in the American grade system, but yeah, it's just worse. I give it an E as well.
I guess so. Yeah.
Like
All right,
a-
I agree with
yeah.
that.
I'm going with an F on that one. It's not going to shift the average, but that's by 1985 design standards. That's a terrible, terrible game.
I like seeing him fly with the helicopter and stuff on the side, but yeah, I didn't like the whole like grid thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it
grid
wasn't.
was bad. And I can think of a game at that time, well, maybe a little later, the Ghostbusters on Commodore and Sega Master System used that kind of city grid for their movement before you go into the ghost battles, and that was just miles better.
All right, so we're giving that one an E. That's good. Filling out the board here. Okay, let's get out of that one to something a little bit more famous, at least slightly. So the next one was Superman for NES, the first Nintendo in 1987. So probably the most famous games for Superman before like the modern era or whatever are the 2600 game and the NES game. Mike, did you have this game?
No.
I didn't either. I probably rented it though and then gave it back immediately.
For this show, I've been trying to actually determine this. I'm not sure when it is that I learned that licensed games should be avoided. I don't know at what age I got that sense, but
It was in the 90s. We all knew very early on.
it had to be before that, because I know I learned I would say Alf on the Sega Master System was one of the worst games I ever owned, and that definitely sticks in my head. Fester's Quest on the NES, and these are like 87, 88, I think. So I'm not sure where exactly I learned it, but I knew generally to stay away, and I'm grateful that I understood that as a child.
There's a whole other podcast that goes into Fester's Quest where there's like it came out before the Addams Family movies came out.
Oh yeah, it was,
Some
it
dude
was
just
way
loved.
before.
Yeah, it was just weird timing with that. But anyway,
Fester's Quest.
Fester's
I like the name
Quest.
of
Yeah,
that.
yep,
Yeah.
it's terrible. But there's a lot of really bad games at this time, man.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Bad
God.
games then
Don't
are
trust that
worse.
seal of quality.
They're worse than bad games now because now everybody kind of has an innate sense of what video games should be. In the beginning, they were still figuring the shit out. so they just make fucking heinous mistakes with games sometimes. Heinous by today's standards. But, so yeah, Superman is an NES video game based on DC Comics character, like we all know, and the first 2 films of the same name. All right? The game is a combination of side-scrolling action mixed with some puzzles. It was programmed by a relatively obscure Japanese firm called Kemco. And here's I'm showing the Japanese cartridge here. I always thought the Japanese cartridges were much cooler.
We should have
like
like
a
top
the
loader,
artwork is
too.
cool.
I know, yeah, we should have had that. They wanted everything to look more like a toy in Japan, but when they came out with the NES here, they wanted it to look more like a VCR. So everything was a little bit more serious.
That decision ruined everything for everyone.
It ruined it, yeah. Japan was always on the kawaii culture, whereas America was like, fuck that, asteroids. Anyway, yeah, so there's a chibi version here we're looking at in the on the video version here. And
Look at this, just like New York.
yeah. So yeah, Kemco made it. It's almost a Metroidvania game, maybe a proto Metroidvania, but not quite, because it is really early on. The plot is pretty bare bones. It's more of a setup than a plot. Lex Luthor and General Zod are causing the trouble in this. Superman has to stop them, of course. The stages are very random. They lead up to a big boss fight near the end. There's like, that's pretty much it.
I'm just looking at this Fu Manchu-looking Chinese guy at the bottom of this thing, being like,
He does look
who's
troublesome.
that supposed to be? 'Cause
I like the
It's
man in
not-
the pink suit.
It's not
Maybe
troublesome
that's Lex
because
Luthor.
it's by a Japanese company.
Yeah, I'm just like, who's he supposed to be?
The pink
True,
guy,
I
I
wanna
have no
know who-
idea.
Yeah, he's flamenco.
Does this mean the
Or-
pink guy is Lex Luthor and General Zod is the bearded strongman looking dude above him? Because neither of these look anything like Gene Hackman and Chan Stamp.
This is going to be a theme throughout all of them, even going up into the newer games. They'll have Superman. His look will be pretty much down. It's iconic. They don't fuck that up generally too much. But the villains, they fuck up so much.
If you guys played the Japanese, the Famicom version of Star Wars, Darth Vader, I believe, turns into a scorpion.
That's kind of awesome, though.
That's
They
kind of
really-
cool.
They
Should've
take a
done
lot
that
of
in the movies.
liberties, you know.
It's like the Japanese Spider-Man, right? Like, even when they take liberties, it's all the right liberties.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're supposed to save Metropolis from evil Lex Luthor and his gang of criminals that were exiled from the planet Krypton. And yeah, it has. This is a famous in retro gaming circles now, but for some reason it has the Statue of Liberty. They sort of mix together Metropolis and New York, and the place names I think in the manual and shit are wrong too. And especially,
I'm pretty sure that it's because the developers didn't know that Metropolis wasn't New York.
Yes.
yeah, they have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I mean, if we're
doesn't
going
matter.
off of the '78 movie, it's filmed in New York, so I could see
Yeah.
them being like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. They just call it Metropolis in the movie."
They didn't have fucking email. They're probably faxing, even if that. You know what I mean? So like they probably just didn't have great communication. It's just a bunch of Japanese dudes, probably mostly dudes, watching Superman 1 and 2 and being like, all right, let's make this.
So they did. I could see that they gave Lois her little like hat from the like '40s serials and that type of stuff. So that's kind of cool. It's like a
Yeah.
little small tribute, though.
Yeah.
Perry White looks like he really needs to go on a diet. He's huge.
I
That's
like
true.
this so far. This is it kind of reminds me of the Pokemon games. The
Yeah,
size of
this
the
is the
people
best
and,
looking one
like,
so
the
far.
Navigation.
Chibi look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And here he changes in the
Oh,
thing,
shit.
just in the
I don't want to
booth.
give away my secret identity, but I am going to fly over people as Clark Kent.
He doesn't really fly in this game, but he jumps high. He
So
leaps,
He leaps. Like, okay, so they're doing the 1938 one.
basically, or that's just
Yeah.
like a gaming limitation. they didn't wanna
Originally,
deal
yeah.
with. Yeah.
Why do
So-
these guys look more like Clark Kent than the Clark Kent they did? He's got the hat and the glasses and the blue-looking suit.
You have your powers as well, like that. So that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was sort of close.
It's the
I
best one
played.
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best one so far. NES was popular for a reason. Many of the games on it were decent. A lot of the enemies are just shirtless fat guys wearing cat masks and cattails. Lex Luthor has horns in this for some reason. So
I'm the devil Superman.
yeah. Mike, you played this one.
Yeah. I think play is a strong word.
Zeora.
It was awful. It really was. It was just so incredibly awkward. Obviously, the jump goes all over the place. You can see the attack animation. Where'd that go? It just kind of causes this weird little spasm. See that? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And it's hard to gauge the distance of the hitbox versus the hurtbox. So eventually, obviously, I spent a few minutes with it before I was like, oh my God, why am I playing this? And then I remembered why. Here we are.
Oh, now he's flying.
And,
He's you're not controlling him here, though.
But yeah, he just shoots up there, and then I can't remember, you fight some people, maybe you get an item or something, and then you go back down. Like, it's the same thing at a different height.
At least it has this like animation to where it's like a little explosion near his fists, because if it didn't have that, it would be like, 1 micropixel outside of his body and that should be the punch to hit the character. And it's like a lot of games back then did this where like your attack was so fucking short. It is so annoying. That's why games with swords work so much better.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? The hitbox and the hurtbox, right? If you want it to match up with the avatar, then you need the avatar to be bigger. Like, you just can't really manage that. Look at those tiny little arms. If it's actually going to be that fist, then nobody's going to be able to do it. You have to go on top of the other sprite to connect.
So this is one of the audio portions where the Japanese version, there was no license problem. So they actually did an 8-bit rendition of the John Williams score.
Nice.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Looks majestic.
Okay.
It's cool.
So some of the differences between the Japanese version and the American version are that it takes place on the same map and resembles Manhattan rotated 90 degrees, but the names on the map are different. And the American version labels the map with names that reflect Metropolis, while the Japanese version actually uses Manhattan and landmarks such as Tribeca, Soho, and Central Park. And the Daily Planet is misspelled in the game. It's misspelled as Daily Planets. And I think that's probably going from katakana to English. There's a problem with going from the Japanese to the English there. So I can see why they made that mistake.
That's the thing. Would they go with the to or the tsu for the plural? I don't really know.
Yeah, so for people out there that don't know, it would be, if you translated planet, it'd be planetto, or that would be planet, but then puranetsu. Sometimes it's tsu. Sometimes in Japanese they'll have the tsu, the tsu at the end.
Yeah.
But it could mean something singular in English, because Japanese does not have grammatical number. There is no singular or plural in Japanese. So
I used to
that's
buy
where
peanuts butter.
Yeah, peanutsu bata, peanut butter, stuff like that. Donutsu, which means donut or donuts. It doesn't matter. So
the American one, I'm seeing this, right? This is the blood type up here.
Yeah, they have
That was
fucking
not in
his
the
blood type. They have his blood type in the game too for some reason. I mean, I know why, but they always have the blood type in Japanese games. So
Superman's blood type wouldn't be able to be red here.
Right?
Dude, they just want to know his blood type.
Well, he's a New Yorker, right?
I mean, Metropolitan. DefunctGames.com had this to say about the game.
Superman on the NES mode, the 2600 game leak. Look like a masterwork. The few neat ideas Kemco brought in don't come anywhere near close to making up for the major deficiencies. Not even the most rabid fan of my son, Kal-El, can find any real enjoyment from this moldy oldie. Throw this one out in a pile of kryptonite and leave it there.
Oh,
It's kind of harsh.
Man.
I'm giving that one a B because
Yeah.
I like the chibis. It reminds me of Pokemon, but as you said, it wasn't the best gameplay. But just for visuals alone, I want to give it a B.
All right.
Yeah.
Mike?
What year was that again? 87?
87.
Oh, could have done better in 87. Come on. I was there. I know. I would say that one's probably around. I do like the chibi Statue of Liberty, but everything else was bad. I'm going to go with an E on that one.
E?
I don't want to touch that game. Like, playing it felt awful. Aligning to the enemies to hit them felt awful. The animation for the attacks was terrible. The movement across the map to go to your objective takes forever. And then when you get there, you get a one-shot kill on you. It's just, no. Nice intro screen.
I give it a D also, just because the chibi look is the best part of it, but the gameplay itself is just bad. It's just, as a game, it's bad. I don't know why. And like Kemco, I never even heard of them. They're not known for doing much. Even in the notes, it said they're obscure. So I'm not sure what their deal is.
Did rescue the embassy mission on the NES.
I never played that one.
I really liked that one. That was kind of like your proto Rainbow Six kind of game.
Oh shit, that's cool. So that's it for now, and we're going to the break.
Here at Chat of the Wild, our Game Club podcast, we have been using our lens of truth to do deep dives on the Legend of Zelda series, in order, covering 1 to 2 dungeons each episode. Our show also looks at Zelda-likes, such as Crusader of Senti, Golden Axe Warrior, and the bizarre journey of For the Frog, The Bell Tolls. Join us right now as we play Ari and the Secret of Seasons, our first new release since Season 1, or check out our past seasons breaking down nearly 20 action-adventure titles. New episodes drop every Wednesday, here on the Greenlit Podcast Network.
Lord have mercy, y'all. Do you like hounds? Do you enjoy pooches? Do you find yourself enjoying time spent with that of canines? Talking about dogs, y'all.
As you might have heard, Superhero Stuff You Should Know has now teamed up with BarkBox. For every month, you get a box for your special canine.
Pooches.
Or hounds.
That's right. 1 free extra month if you go to barkbox.com/superherostuffpod.
Follow the link and you'll get a free extra month valued at $35 and valid for all multi-length plans.
So get the BarkBox for your hound, for your pooch, for your canine.
Your doggo will thank you. This week on Bibbo and Beppo. Bibbo and Beppo are in over their heads when they encounter something from another world while encountering a Jaywalker.
Whoa, wait, Bibbo, what? Wait, are you Beppo?
I'm Beppo, you moron.
I get our names mixed up, but too similar.
You dolt.
Beppo, I think we've gone a little too far this time. This isn't even one of Superman's villains. This is just some guy that didn't go to the crosswalk.
These defibrillators can't get cold. I must be using them all the time.
I was just walking.
Shut up, you.
I really don't think the big blue guy would support this kind of behavior from a police officer and his gorilla friend.
We're on our own now.
What the hell happened to Superman?
He's off somewhere. Who gives a fuck? These defibrillators equal justice.
He's starting to scare me a little bit.
What's that over there, just beyond this near-dead body?
What's that, a banana?
Yes. These defibrillators that are cylindrical and metallic are totally bananas. Yes, you fucking idiot.
Not that, I know what that is. The fucking light shape over there. It's more like a big yellow...
You mean to tell me you confused a fucking boom tube with a fucking banana that you eat?
A boob tube? What the hell is that?
Boom tube. I've seen them before.
Well, where'd you see them at?
I was doing some shit with Big Blue and, then we popped up somewhere. They kind of go someplace different every time. It's weird.
Well, I'm a curious fellow. Come on, my champion champ. Let's go on in there and see what's on the other side of this boob tube.
Well, I also am bored, and let me just zap this moron one more time. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, my little orangutan fellow, let's jump on through. Holy shit! This ain't Kansas anymore.
My word, where could this be? I've never been here before. Everything's red and looks like basically hell. Are we in hell?
Well, we probably are from all the people you've been killing lately. You fucking psychopathic ape.
That would make sense now that you mention it, yes.
Not hell, but close to it.
Who the hell's that big rock-faced guy?
And you must be Satan. Satan wears a blue suit. Weird.
I am not Satan. I am Darkseid. Welcome to Apocalypse, Bibbo and Beppo.
Oh, don't forget your granny goodness, Darkseid.
Yes, give them an old Apocalypse welcome, Granny.
Oh, it'll be my pleasure. I see a naughty monkey right there.
Jesus, woman, calm yourself. I know this cape does wonders to the opposite sex, but you have to control yourself.
Jeez, I'm crow. I've never seen anything like this except for my ex-mother-in-law.
Bibbo and Beppo, you are here because talk of your murders have crossed the galaxies over to Apocalypse. All the electrocutions that you've done with your defibrillator. I need you as part of my army, Beppo. Bibbo, you're kind of just here because you're a package deal.
Hey, I like the sound of that.
You don't even have to brainwash me. I am ready, my lord.
Oh, that was surprisingly easy.
Well, wait a minute now there, my little, my monkey man. What would Superman think of us teaming up with, like, his greatest villain bad guy here?
I'm on my own now. This ape has a greater purpose.
But, Beppo, I thought you and me, we were partners. You stepping out on your old buddy, Bibbo? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, now that you mention it, I do feel a bit torn. Who will charge these defibrillator batteries? It's usually my old pal, Bibbo.
Damn right.
The stupid idiot Beppo.
Well, that's probably true as well, but I like the first part.
My moronic pal Bibbo.
All right, you laid it on a little bit thick. Look, I think you know what to do with those there banana defibrillators in your hand.
I see what you're saying. Have at thee!
Ooh, you wicked, wicked monkey!
Take that, you old bag!
Ooh, get off of here, that's naughty behavior! Ooh, that stings and tickles! Oh, my lord!
Master Darkseid, what should we do with this insolent simian?
These two are more trouble than they're worth. Send them back through the boom tube.
Wait, Granny and I were just getting to know each other!
Back to Earth you go.
You haven't seen the last of the great Bibbo and Beppo!
The greatest cop team in history. They literally did nothing in this except kill a Jaywalker. But next time, on Bibbo and Beppo, find out the consequences of turning down Darkseid.
Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such films as Darren Aronofsky's Batman Year One and Joel Schumacher's Batman Unchained. And right now, you're listening to superhero stuff you should know. Ha ha!
And we're back, everybody. So now we're gonna get some better ones. Wait, what's happening now?
Zack said 1 second right when you're like, I'm back. We're back.
The fuck is this shit? You know what? I'm keeping it in. All right, we're moving forward. So Zach's gonna have to wait. All right. So in 1988, Taito, maybe some people pronounce this Taito, but the Japanese would be Taito, released Superman, the arcade game. This is one of the fucking good ones, in my opinion. It's an arcade beat-em-up game made by the Japanese company Taito, like I said. It had really cool art on the sides of the actual arcade cabinet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the that's arcade so nice. Cabinet was cool, really bright colors, really great stuff. And the controller was cool as well. And
wait a second. There was a 6-button layout.
It probably didn't use all the buttons. Ooh, it was probably cool. Converted.
Yeah.
This is the best looking one so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
We're
we're-
going to say that for each one now.
We're
But
we're
yeah.
moving forward in time. Graphics are getting better. It's 1988, and graphics were generally better in the arcade than they were at home at this time. So let's keep that in mind. So yeah, you have to fight through 5 levels, make the world safe from the evil Emperor Zaz, not the Batman Zaz, Zaas, Zaz.
Is this a character that was created just for the game?
Probably. Remember, usually they got the villains wrong at this time.
I was
even
going to
with
ask you
this one.
guys if you recognized anything from this, because I was looking at the like lizard people or whatever that you fought. And I was like, I don't really know if that's
for Zaz.
something I didn't know from the comics in the 80s, but it also was still a Japanese developed arcade game. I love these pictures. These are so good. Checking out
Yes.
Rockabilly Superman.
Really bright colors.
He's fighting Turbo Man.
It's like the Flash meets Turbo Man or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
See how
flying
he's-
most of the game. Go ahead. Mike.
Yeah, he's stuck there, right? I found that really frustrating that you couldn't charge that shot without being stationary. In the flying levels, you could charge it and move, but on these levels, you can't.
Wait. So does he just have that power, or does he have a device on him that allows him to shoot that out?
I think he has the power.
He's Superman. No.
Well, he's got. There's all kinds of characters. There's like Silver Surfer, Turbo Man, Falcon. I just saw.
Superman's just shooting energy beams out of his hands
Lord.
at Falcon.
Falcon
Yeah,
shows up.
I
He's like,
swear
I'm not
that
used to
was
the shield
Falcon.
yet.
This is a crossover for the Marvel.
Yeah.
So
So
where's Falcon? I only see the
It
Silver
was,
Surfer.
he was on there a minute ago. There was 2 of them. It was like the old Falcon costume where he had his thighs out and everything.
So Emperor Zaz is possibly an alternate take on Brainiac. And the blast that you've been seeing here is
think
they call it the
yeah.
Sonic Blast, even though it looks like a light kind of thing. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason for this kind of stuff. It's just names they gave it for the time.
He's really the Eradicator.
Yeah, the Radicator, I guess. So there's also objects that you can throw around and break, which at this time in '88 was still sort of new. Being able to pick up an object and throw it at somebody in a beat 'em up kind of game like this was still on the newer side of things.
I didn't even realize you could pick those up. I just kept exploding them.
Yeah, you can pick them up. And the second player, if you play 2-player on this, it's a different color scheme. It's the same layout basically, but it's got a color scheme that looks a lot like Shazam or Captain Marvel at this time.
I do remember playing at Nathan's back in the day and trying to get on the second player side so I could see the other color.
Yeah.
I was always big on alternate colors.
So you're Superman, but in a different colored outfit?
It's just
basically.
an inverse colors of red and blue.
Oh,
Pal-
that's kind of awesome.
It's what they call the palette swap. Yeah.
The core design philosophy of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, exactly. The core design philosophy. The presence of this alternative Superman is never explained in the game. It's only intended to have a cooperative gameplay mechanic. That's it. But it is highly suggestive of Captain Marvel, aka Shazam. So there you go on that one. During the demo, which is the game that's playing while, like, remember in an arcade, it's playing something, right? Before you put in a quarter.
The attract mode.
The attract mode, yes. It has a picture of an evil alien evil alien creature holding a small globe in his huge hand, and that picture originally appeared in an old DC Special Series graphic novel titled Superman. That's in Superman versus Muhammad Ali. So they had a little bit of that in there as well.
Cool.
So they had a little bit of something extra from the comics
That's
in this
cool.
one. So that's pretty cool.
Can Superman go in the White House?
I don't think so.
Damn.
That
He
would
go
be
in the
cool,
White
though.
House. He's in New York.
that is the White House, and I saw the Washington Monument.
is
He
the
went to
White House.
D.C.
Metropolis.
He was definitely in DC there. I'm just saying.
The game, throughout most of the game, you hear Superman's main theme, and also "Can You Read My Mind" from the Superman films is in the fifth level of this game as well. So,
He's throwing these energy beams out.
yes.
Yeah,
So
this
See,
is
you can
pretty
charge
cool.
and move in these levels. That's
Yeah.
nice.
I would give that one a B. based on what we saw. I think that's probably the best one.
I kind of like that one too. I liked it because it had all the characters that I didn't know who they were. Turbo Man, Silver Surfer, all that stuff. Hey, I'm going to give that one an
Flash.
A. I'm going to give it an A.
We got an A from Zack. We got a B from Ben. And then what about you, Mike?
Yeah, I think that would be. I did feel like it was a little odd. The distance as he carries his fist like that, how close you have to get to the enemies.
Yeah.
But other than that, I did think it was pretty strong, even though it felt disconnected from so much of what I would have expected from Superman. I would say a B. I would definitely. I mean, I did play it in the arcade in the 80s, so. And I wanted to be Red Superman.
Yeah, I did play it as well back in the day, and I'll also give it a B. I think this is one of the better ones.
Mm-hmm.
People, developers out there that are maybe watching this or listening, take note. This is one of the good ones.
It's a thing of beauty. I mean, my first love is always gonna be that kind of sprite work with those colors popping the way they do in that game. So
yeah, the colors are really good, man, in that one. That's one thing that
marquee is so nice.
The marquee, it's a solid marquee. All right, so we got B, C, D, E now. Very interesting turn of events, everybody. I don't know if we'll get an A or an S though. S is like Super Mario. S is, Donkey Kong. It's Street Fighter 2. It's like best games of all time.
I don't know if any of these are getting an S.
No.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to go into S territory. So the next one is maybe a step back. Just remember, home consoles, they didn't have the same graphics as the arcade. When in the early to mid 90s, you started to hear this term called arcade perfect, which meant that a home console game was exactly like the arcade. So it was like, wow, they did it just like the arcade. This is fucking awesome.
That was the high that I chased my entire childhood.
Yes, getting that arcade perfect Street Fighter or that arcade perfect Mortal Kombat or whatever it is. So I'm explaining that because now we're going back. We're going ahead a year to '89, but we're going to the Commodore 64 again, and the Amiga, the Atari ST, like you mentioned, Mike. And this was Superman: The Man of Steel. And this game was made by a UK company called TyneSoft, TyneSoft, and it was licensed from First Star Software. It's kind of a flying sim. You play a Superman on a mission to save a kidnapped Lois Lane, and from two supervillains, Darkseid and Lex Luthor, are in this game. So Darkseid got a lot of love at this time.
Yeah. I thought I saw a boom tube. Yeah,
and those are parademons.
There's a parademons.
Yeah. So, yeah, they did pretty good on this one. Mike, did you play this one?
No. So I was thinking, when you asked about the Commodore, I was thinking of the Amstrad game, but I was thinking of the previous one. So this one, I actually took a look to check online for a video of the Commodore 64 version, which is a lot better looking than the Spectrum version, which is a standard theme, you'll see.
Right.
It runs a lot better than this, but it's still the same core game. And, I mean, you never know until you really get hands-on with a game, but it's move the cursor around to shoot at the enemies. So
yeah, it's again, we're looking at it through a 2021 lens. It's very tough. I'm sure fans like this at the time, and at the top left you can see that he's got like his powers that he can use too, like the breath and the strength. I don't know how he uses that, but and maybe an extra boost in flight and stuff like that. But I mean, it's fine, but it's not great. I did play this on an emulator, and it plays a little slow. It's just slow, but that's the technology we were dealing with at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I know, like, I'm very in tune with my perspective of that time frame, and I know that I would have scoffed at this back then. If you had put a ZX Spectrum in front of me, I would have said, I'm not playing it. I just won't play a game today. I'm going out.
Right.
Because, I was in the arcades. I loved going to the arcades. I used to go to Nathan's all the time. And so, like, if something wasn't even going to try to come close to the arcade, I was just like, Or you had to go a completely different direction. Like Strider on the NES versus Strider on the arcade.
Right.
You had to do something to make it work for the platform you had. And this kind of thing would have put me right off.
Yeah. Well, at least I don't know. At least it exists, I guess. I don't know. It's cool video game history, but yeah.
The Commodore 64 version of this same game looks and runs better than
has more
the
colors,
Spectrum.
right?
Yeah. It runs
Right.
more smoothly. It's got a better frame rate. So I didn't get hands-on, but by seeing it in action, I can tell that it's going to be more responsive.
Okay. All right, cool. It says that the 16-bit versions, which is probably what you saw, looks like more like an 8-bit or less, were generally well received, were moderately favorable reviews. The one, and that's like a review website or something, praised the game's incorporation of the style of the comic book source, but found the gameplay to be frustrating, particularly having to play the sub-games in sequence. It gave it a 69% for the Atari ST version, I guess. So Atari Computing similarly praised the look of the game while also pointing out the top-notch sound, actually. It had good sound for the time. So, and reception for the 8-bit versions was a bit more mixed. So, there you go.
I'm going to give that one an E. It looked like I would never want to play it. It looked really stiff and boring. The only reason I wouldn't give it an F is because it actually has Darkseid and Parademons as characters. I think that's the only cool part of it. But it just did not look like interesting to me at all.
Like Lois Lane is kidnapped, and it looked like Superman was taking his sweet time, just basically gliding towards the parademons, being like, all right, just another Tuesday.
Right.
I don't know, probably like a D.
D. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, D. It's just unremarkable.
So we got 2 Ds and an E.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I could turn it to an E, couldn't I? Yeah, I'm giving it an E. It's going to be E territory for me. I agree with everything you guys said. All right, we've got 2 E's now. Looking good. We're filling out this board. That's nice. We're going to be carrying over this board into part 2 as well. So we're going to have a full board by the end of this. So it'll be kind of cool to see.
Nice.
All right. Well, the next one is an unreleased game, Sunman.
Oh, by SunSoft.
So this one,
makers of Fester's Quest.
SunSoft had good games though. That's true. But it was in development by EIM and then going to be published by SunSoft and DC Comics. But for whatever reason, the game was rejected, and the game was changed and eventually released. It was going to be released as Sunman, but then that was canceled also. But this is basically a near complete game that was going to be Superman game, and then was going to be Sunman, and then fucking dissipated. But that copy, the ROM, leaked online. I don't know, it was probably mid-2000s or some shit. And I played a little bit of that. And it's actually, this is another theme. The leaked ones, the ones that were, the canceled games are generally the best ones. So, yeah.
I mean, that is standard, right? Unrealized potential always holds a lot more promise than the actual failures that we got.
Yes.
This is Sunman.
This is Sunman.
Yeah, he's fighting
but
gargoyles.
you can see that's familiar
red
level
outfit.
design. You see that later with SunSoft's, was it the Genesis version and the Sega Master System? They did both of those, right?
And the Superman ones?
Yeah, for Genesis and Master System, I think used this same level design.
Yes.
It's just they're dropping things out of the windows or whatever. So it didn't go to waste.
It didn't go to waste. They did reuse a lot of stuff. And just like you said, the gameplay is very similar to SunSoft's Batman games, Batman and Batman Return of the Joker. In those games, the character can run, jump, and punch and duck. But also, of course, in this one, they add the ability to fly simply by pressing up. And some of the there are some side-scrolling flying levels as well. And you can shoot laser and heat vision from your eyes. And it's just a shame that it wasn't released, man. I mean, this would have been a decent release, you know. But
that looks pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for a regular Nintendo game, for an NES game, this is pretty decent.
I love those animation frames on that run. That's so nice.
Yeah. this is by far probably the best home console one that would have come out. There was a guy, that did hack this and put Superman in it.
Oh,
Nice.
somebody was
So-
bound to do that.
Yeah, somebody was going to do it. So this is Sunman. For those
That's
watching on
really
YouTube,
nice.
some guy just changed out the character and and maybe just changed the colors. I'm not sure, but yeah, they put in Superman instead. And this is a hack. This is a hacked ROM.
Yeah.
And there he is.
That's nice. That's
So,
much
yeah.
better than the ROM hack I remember playing of Wonder Boy, where he threw penises instead of tomahawks.
Oh yeah, some of those ROM hacks are insane, man.
Yeah, it's just like, why? Why did you even make this? What's the point? This is cool though.
This is NES, so this is in 1992, which is pretty much near the end of NES's run, a late release game. What was common, and what still is common, is by the end of a system's run, the programmers themselves have gotten better at programming for that system. So any game that comes out later in a system's life cycle will generally have better graphics than the first run of games. So this is being a late release NES game. It does look pretty good for that system.
Yeah, that is nice looking.
Yeah.
I
right.
definitely would not have been playing NES in '92. That was like
We were-
years after the Genesis and the Super Nintendo already.
I might give it an A.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an A. It looks more interesting than actually Superman. I don't know. It looks like he's in Gotham City. He's like a character I don't know about. Things are a little dark and dingy. I like it.
Now, did you say that one was 92?
92, that is correct, yes.
92. That's in. That's got
Late
some
release.
rough contemporaries to work with there. It's definitely, it does not hold up to 92 standards because, I mean, who in 92 was bothering with the NES anyway? But
Some people were late to buy a Super
You know.
Nintendo, though.
well, I mean, the Genesis was 89, you know?
Dude, I gotta tell you, when I grew up, I didn't even know about the Genesis until a little bit after the Super Nintendo. Somehow, because I was so
Oh.
young, I only knew about Nintendo, and then in my mind, the Genesis came out around the same time as the Super Nintendo. But you're right.
Oh, yeah.
Came
No, they
out
got
89. It's so far ahead.
Yeah. And it's, I made that move. I guess that Christmas or whatever. I got lucky. I got the gift from my father. I would say, though, it's a really good looking game for the hardware. The design principles held up all right with some of the later games. I would go with a B for that
B.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll also give it a B just because it's like it looks all right, but also it's not technically Superman
That's
either.
true. That is true.
So like,
We're going to have to move a little asterisk there for that.
yeah.
only the hack. Only really the hack is Superman, but it was originally intended to be Superman at the same
Yeah.
time.
I get it, but even the
So-
hacked version, I'm just like, I kind of like some of the other ones better.
The
All
funny
right,
thing
cool.
is, I wonder though, because this is one of the ones that we didn't really play. We just push it up because we didn't actually get hands on with it.
Then you get hands on, you're like E.
I got the ROM. I got the ROM of this. I played it. It was pretty good.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. The ROM's out there. All right, so we're giving it a B average for Sunman. I'm not going to write the asterisk there for now, but yes, it has an asterisk next to it.
Luckily, it can be
So-
easily seen, I think.
Yes.
Yes. Let's get back to Superman made by SunSoft for the Genesis, also in 1992. So this is the same year as the other one, and it was also made by Virgin Interactive in Europe, and which would have been for the Mega Drive there. And they made a GameGear version also, and that one was developed by a company called Kraft Gold. And so in this one, there's not much of a plot again, but this one, there are some more recognizable villains. You have Prankster, you got Metallo, Mr. Mixia Spitlick is in this one.
Cool.
You have to rescue Lois Lane from Brainiac near the end. And
Same. There's Sunman.
yeah.
Superman v Sunman.
That is true. They just fucking like did a graphical upgrade.
Well, that's the thing, right? You put all this manpower into the project. It doesn't work out. You don't want to lose that. So okay, now we got the license going into the next generation. We're going to recycle whatever assets or ideas we have.
Right. It's too much work.
Yeah.
This looks
And
looks more
and
like
they weren't bad ideas either. They were good. So.
Go ahead.
This looks more like Metropolis than
it does.
the other one. There's no gargoyles. It's daytime. It's bright
Is
out.
it Prankster?
I think this is Prankster, and some people have noted that
Beating
you
the
get
shit
damaged.
out of them.
You get damaged just by bumping into Prankster, which shouldn't happen, but it's still a game. So they
suit is made of kryptonite.
Yeah, something like that. So I mean, you get into, and we'll get into this in the second part more, but the difficulties with making a Superman game. But that's a hint at that kind of thing. But so
this is another one where I felt like the hitbox on the punch and everything it was just too close to the character. I needed some distance from the enemies because you got hurt by overlapping.
You got to make like a big haymaker punch or something. Yeah, it's just always so close. Also, what else I have here is, despite being very hard, the game has broken mechanics. The game just provides a series of levels in Metropolis and in space where you punch and use heat vision against an assortment of enemies. So DefunctGames.com had this to say.
Given the curse on the character, Superman on the Genesis could have been a lot worse. It is at least playable, which is more than can be said for other Superman games. However, it is so frustrating that it's outright demoralizing. Kal-El would have a better chance of punching his way out of a vault made of kryptonite than average players getting through this game. Just stick to Batman.
Okay. So
I gotta agree with that. Just stick to Batman. That sounds good to me.
what are we giving that one?
I'll give that one maybe a B.
Okay, that's good.
I feel like, to be fair, I have to give it a B, but for my standards of the Genesis, I would have expected more, which would push it down to a C. But if I'm going to put Sunman as a B, I have to allow the Genesis one to also be a B.
Oh, that is true.
I feel that way too. I'll give it a B, maybe a slight more like a B plus because it's now Superman and you get to beat the shit out of a prankster, but still in B range.
Okay. All right. We're going to give that one a B. I'd give it maybe a B, maybe lean towards C, because the gameplay is not the best, but the colors are great too. So, yeah, we'll give it a B. All right, we're giving that one a B. We got 3 Bs now. That's nice. That's good. More than I expected.
Yeah, seriously.
A lot more than I expected. So the next one is very similar. It's Sega. It was Superman, the Man of Steel on GameGear.
I like the art on that one.
The artwork is cool. It's similar to the one that you saw on the Commodore 64. The graphics are nice and bright too. Always a fan of that. I played this one as well on emulator, and it is actually okay.
Look how close he is to that.
That's the problem, though. Yeah.
So this is the same thing. Like the Sega Master System version was basically the same style, where I was just like, okay, that's a bit of a bother. I'm not going to do that. Look at that punch.
So in this game, Lois Lane has been kidnapped by Brainiac, and there is something called the Doomstar. The Doomstar is orbiting Earth, and so a lot of the adversaries are coming from the Doomstar, apparently.
Yeah. I never had a GameGear. I would say that they did some nice animation work for Superman Sprite with the flowing cape on the GameGear. I was surprised to see that.
I'm going to give that one an E.
All right.
Mainly because it made me laugh. Otherwise, it'd be an F.
I have a pretty harsh bias against a lot of the portable stuff from that era. Just the weaker hardware when I was always looking for arcade style, So I'm going to go with, it seems like it's more or less the same game as the Genesis game, just downgraded like they did for also the Sega Master System version. But it's just really bad in comparison. So I'm going to go with a D.
D?
Yeah.
Wow. I'd give it at least a C. It was fine.
Yeah. I don't think it was that bad. I'd say C is pretty fair. At least for making us laugh with the whole crotch shot.
Okay, so what are we averaging in it? So I give it a C. Ben gives it a C.
Yeah.
Mike,
It's probably going to be a C.
D, and C. So it's an average as a C. Okay. So it's C. We have 2 C's now. Looking good. Filling out the board. Looking good. So the next one is one of the best. Many people say this is the best one. The Death and Return of Superman for Super Nintendo and Genesis in '94. Was made by, it says SunSoft, but Blizzard actually made this. Blizzard's the company that made World of Warcraft. Eventually went on to make all those games. StarCraft and whatever. But before they were known for that, they were making games like this. And it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up once again. But, yeah. Oh, also, yeah, Kotaku, my favorite video game site now, they also had this article about a year ago or so, and they said it was basically entitled Blizzard Made the Best Superman Game back in '94. So I tend to agree. I think this is probably the best one. And
I mean, for me, the thing is, it may have been the best Superman game at the time, but that's a really low bar. The issue The issue is the game as a beat 'em up, because in 1994 you had already seen amazing games like Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Final Fight. All of these games are just top notch and still hold up today. But when I played this one, I feel like it's just amateurish in comparison. It doesn't mean it's bad, but it's not as good as a 1994 game following Streets of Rage, I believe 1 and 2 at that point.
That is
just
true.
doesn't hold up to them.
But in
Its
Streets of
contemporaries
Rage,
are leagues ahead.
let me ask you this, Mike. In Streets of Rage, could you play a Superman, Superboy, Steel, Cyborg Superman, the Eradicator, and Doomsday?
No.
You can play as Doomsday in this.
It said they're in that list. Actually, I don't think you can play as Doomsday, but you can play as the rest of them.
It's like if you want to, if you like killing everybody today, play as Doomsday.
That would be cool if you could. You could play as
Destroy Metropolis.
You could play as Doomsday in Injustice 1, I think. But yeah, so actually I'm seeing another date here, June 1st, 95. Anyway, it's about that time. So
Yeah.
it's just cool you could play as all those characters. I think that's the main draw, is just having all those different characters to play as.
It's cool getting to be Steel from what we're seeing right now, and then potentially the Eradicator.
Yeah. The plot is basically when an unknown monster named Doomsday invades Metropolis, Superman must fight him in an epic and fierce battle to save the city, much like the comic it's based on. Events that take place in the game are the Underworlders' attack on the power plant, Doomsday's appearance and defeat/victory against Superman, Cyborg's assault on Cadmus to retrieve the body of Doomsday, the battle between Eradicator and Steel, the destruction of Coast City, and the subsequent fight between Eradicator and the Cyborg Superman, I'm assuming. So, yeah. And it's like you've seen, it's a beat 'em up mostly, with some side-scrolling parts, side-scroll flying parts like you see here with the Eradicator, and it has special moves and shit like that. But yeah, actually, Mike, Defunct Games, once again, our friends at Defunct Games had something very similar to what you said, so I wanted you to relay the message.
The Death and Return of Superman is not the best beat-em-up I played on the Super Nintendo. I personally prefer Batman Returns. However, it's easily one of the best Superman games I ever played. The story was told well, if a bit rushed, and the combat is satisfying, if a bit uninspired. The members of Blizzard should be considered gods among men. If they could make a good game revolving around Superman, then they could pretty much do anything. I think their best game was Rock and Roll Racing.
What are we giving this one?
Look cool. I'm going to give it an A.
A? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with the A, Mike?
I think that it was, I'm in the BC territory.
Yeah,
C.
I figured.
You tough.
Well, yeah, because I remember, Mike, you were mentioning that like it was sort of below standards at that time. Because like to me, it's cool because of the characters, but just watching it, I was like, it's kind of boring looking. But
The combos are boring. I couldn't find that there were any, like, I think there were just no invincibility frames when you got going, so you would get knocked out of your combos a lot. And I just feel like they ignored a lot of what was clearly learned from the beat 'em up genre, which was king of the arcades for quite a while.
That is true.
And then, of course, Streets of Rage, the home version, was phenomenally good.
Arcade perfect.
So,
or close to it. It was close.
Without an arcade.
Right.
I mean, I think I would put this game at a B.
Yeah.
I think that the graphics were really nice. I like the designs. I like that there's diversity in the characters, the roster, even though they didn't really feel that different to me to play each character. It's still, at that time, if I had played it then, I might have thought, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm all these different Supermen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll give it a B just because like it's cool that they did the storyline and you get to be the Eradicator or Steel and all that type of stuff, but also just kind of looking at it, I could see what you meant, Mike, in terms of just like, this is probably not as good as it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to agree with you guys. It's not an A. It's just not. Definitely not an S. It's a B, I think. But the thing is, that's how high the highest Superman game can go. Probably. It's the best B out of this B list. We could put it that way. So it has that going for it.
Yeah. I don't know. I might want to play the arcade board from '88 instead.
I didn't know you were so tough on on
I was an arcade rat. I was an arcade rat, and like if I remember the Game Boy. I didn't get one at the time because I was like, this looks like trash. Why would I get this?
That's all I ever had for a long time was a Game Boy. There just weren't like a lot of arcades around us. I guess there was like a skating rink that had like a small one, but they always had very few games I was interested in. The only one I ever remember playing was like a Jurassic Park one.
So the next one and the last one for part 1 of our series is Superman for Game Boy. It was made by Titus France Software. Titus, they're very famous now because they're the ones that made Superman 64. Okay?
Oh.
It's the same company made this one. Okay? So in this one, in each level, the player must collect a certain number of keys and possibly fight a boss. And then you stepped on a marked area to leave, and that's basically it. You leave the level. So played this one earlier today, and I gotta say, collecting keys is the video game version of saying in today's society in an essay. It is the most boring, worst video game thing you can do unless you're early on like Atari games and you're just starting with video games. But even by this time, which was 97, by the way, it's just terrible. And like these villains are like gangsters.
Snipers.
One of them looks like an old grandma holding an Uzi or something. Like it's bad. Like they were already on a roll with this game before they even got to Superman 64. But yeah,
this was definitely, for me, this is like, I can't make this game. I can't make a game. But I can still look at this and say, this is not how it should be.
It's
Absolutely
bad.
not. What? I don't understand. And here's, in this flying stage, you can fall to your death.
Yes, you can.
What?
Which that's a common gameplay mechanic, but it just doesn't make sense for Superman. And again, another hint for the next episode, but like these are the issues we run into, right? You have normal gameplay mechanics that just don't work with Superman.
You've just taken some mediocre, random, craptastic idea and slapped the Superman skin on it and said, here you go, kids.
It is fucking terrible.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
GameSpot had this to say about the game. Superman for the Game Boy is an obscure game produced by Titus, the same company that made the infamous Superman 64. Considering how bad that game was, I wasn't expecting much when I played this. Unfortunately, it fell below even my lowest expectations. Superman 64 at least tried to live up to the Superman that can be seen in comics, on various TV shows, and in several movies, but this game doesn't even make the attempt. Superman 64 had horrible gameplay and terrible graphics, but at least it looked like it was about Superman. The Superman in this video game could be replaced with a generic hero, and no one would notice that the character had any similarities to Superman. That, combined with the terrible gameplay, makes this one of the worst Game Boy games that I've ever played!
Wow.
He didn't like it.
That's fair.
Doesn't sound like
it's a
it.
fair review.
He didn't like that game. It's an F for sure. For me. For me, it's an F.
Is there a G rating that we could give it?
It is bad.
Just imagine that you're scrolling down and you get somewhere to maybe around Z. That's where you'll find it.
It's sad
Well-
too because I love the animated series, and it's obviously based on the animated series, but it looks really boring.
Yes, it's from '97 that the show was going on at that time, and yeah,
It's not from the show. It's a key hunt.
yeah, you fucking keys.
Is that what you
fucking
tuned in
kidding
every
me?
day for?
We
to watch
missed that
Superman
episode.
Dark Keys?
It was an Emmy Award-winning episode written by Paul Dini, where Superman's trying to find the keys.
The key hunt.
First
Oh my
appearance of Harley
God.
Quinn. She's getting some keys.
97, and it was still green screen like that? I thought they had moved on to Game Boy Color by then. Am I wrong?
Yeah, look.
There was a Game Boy.
bad.
Game Boy
They had
Pocket?
moved on, but the footage I had was from that.
Okay.
We're just giving this one an F.
We're giving it an F, right?
Just
Okay.
giving it. Just skipped that part.
Giving it an F. All right, so here are our rankings for part 1 of our two-parter series. I'm going to have a lot more B's than we expected. We will continue this and finish it out in the next episode. But thanks, everybody, and that's superhero stuff you should know. All right, thanks, everybody, for indulging me once again with this video game shit. Always enjoy talking about it. We do have our comments, so let's get into it.
Yes, we do. So, let's pull up the first comment. But the first comment comes from, I believe, Kieran Jones. So, Kieran, let's see what you have to say on our Make the Batfleck movie episode, saying, just to correct Jake, our guest from the Batfeed, around 2638. As far as I can tell, Enchantress was always there and worked for Steppenwolf to a degree. She was controlled by a mother box and created her versions of parademons to help Steppenwolf lead his charge on Earth, which would have been seen in Justice League. That's pretty cool. That would have been a very interesting setup for the Justice League stuff, Kieran. Thanks for that information. Definitely would want to dig into that. We would cover the Suicide Squad movie if and only if Warner Brothers releases the Ayer cut. Until then, it will forever be the review that we did back in 2016.
They got like a
All right.
shitload of hashtags going on Twitter, right?
Yeah,
the
for
Ayer
release the
cut?
Ayer cut for like the other day, and they started leaking some stuff out there, certain script parts that Ayer confirmed to be actually stuff that he shot. Even
Okay.
like the kiss between Harley and Deadshot, some lines from Batman, some Joker moments where Joker like ends up spooking a judge by showing up in his bed, like some sorts of stuff like that. I'm like, this is all interesting stuff. I don't know how this all connects together, but would love to see how it comes together in the full Ayer cut if they ever release that.
I saw some dialogue between Harley and Joker, and it still was kind of cringy, so
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm on the fence.
All right.
All right. Next comment. Next is from Maestro Drake's Metalman on the Batman 89 #1 essay that we did, saying, quote, glad to hear this was not a cosmetic field to a traditional Batman comic. Batman 89 was the first I saw as a child in the theater. I think many people who are listening to this show feel the same way. Will you be reviewing Superman 78 also, the comic, I believe? I imagine there will be a tribute in that one. I imagine there will be a ton of Easter eggs. We will definitely have some sort of coverage of it, but probably not the same type of video essay coverage as before. Potentially a podcast episode. We'll just have to see when they come up, but we'll definitely be following it and let you guys know.
We might put stuff like that even in the TikTok, huh? What do you think? Like a real quick review. This is what I thought. Anything that's kind of like, well, it's not minor, but it's it's not going to be given the same treatment, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because I mean the glory of the Batman 89 comic series is like, here's this hidden chapter, and now there's like this resurgence of this specific type of world, as opposed to, you know, we've seen so much of the Christopher Reeve movies. He had 4 movies, and then Superman Returns was kind of a tie-in to that, depending on your feelings on that movie and whether or not you think that's canon to that. But either way, like, he still had 4 movies in that continuity, and the comic stuff could in a cool way explore some new stuff, but we'll just have to see on that. So I'm looking forward to it anyway.
Okay, cool. All right.
And then the last comment comes from DC Knight on our preview clip for the many Killers of the Waynes episode, saying, "I would love to see a Batman versus the Zodiac Killer comic. It would need to be Elseworlds and set in the 60s though." Yeah, kind of like a 1960s Zodiac Killer, Gotham by Gaslight type of thing.
Would it be Adam
against
West?
A different serial killer. Ooh.
That's that might be a little bit too much for Adam West.
Sign of
Like a dark
Sagittarius.
Adam West.
He's toying with us, Commissioner.
I don't know about that.
You foul fiend.
I'd watch it though.
Some days you just can't get rid of a serial killer. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be Adam West, but it would be cool. It would be cool to see Batman versus the Zodiac Killer. I agree.
Yes.
So thanks for that, DC Knight.
Nice. All right, thanks
and
for
then,
those.
Back to Andrew.
Yes, thank you for those comments, and we'd like to also thank our Patreon supporters, who are Shasta, Leom O, Super Inframan, Douglas P, Dan D, Aaron Willett, Nick Noir, Jesse E, Jeffrey R, Scott V, Asger's Web, Jeremy H, Alex of the What Mean Podcast, Ian Justice, Carter S, and Braxton W. Did I miss anybody, Ben?
I think we're good.
We're good. Okay, great. And then we have our other supporters, Sparkageddon, SDCT Productions, Robert Schumann, Kooky Noms, Matt Herring, Elijah B, Shamrock Balls, Ian H, Walter the Robot, John Wells, Rye Guy, Jackson Putnam, and Tway N. Thank you guys for being a part of this here podcast. Always appreciate it. And please join the Shasta Army. It's at patreon.com/superherostuffpod. That's the $1 tier, gets you a shout out in the episode. And then we have our members only Patreon feed at the $5 tier. And yeah, that's a whole other show released every Friday, even deeper dives all the time, everybody. So, yeah, please join us there. And please buy our shit. SuperHousePod.redbubble.com. SuperHousePod.redbubble.com. SuperHeroStuffPod.threadless.com. And get your shirts, get your mugs, get all kinds of shit. We will be adding Zack's soon. I know we keep talking about that, but we'll add it. Zack's waiting. He is waiting for that, so can't wait. This artwork here also that you can see on the YouTube version, and the one that will be added of Zack is from Wolfie Cruz. Also have to mention that. Please send us some audio of fucking whatever the fuck and add that to our we will add that to our episode, and you can send an audio sample to superhousepodcast@gmail.com. Also, please animate our sketches. Just let us know you did it and hashtag it. Please, that would be awesome. I'm ThunderWolfDrew on Instagram and Twitter. ThunderWolf lives on YouTube, where I do all kinds of Japanese shit on there as well. ThunderWolfDrew.com is my portfolio. It has everything on there except for AminoRecon.com has my other stuff. And Zack did this poster here. This is something that I'm in pre-production for. And yeah, it's basically an R-rated Power Rangers meets X-Files, but it is an original idea. But that's the quickest way. That's my elevator pitch for it. So there you go. It's got, as you can see, it's got aliens and it's got people that wear sci-fi suits, sort of reminiscent of that of Tokusatsu, which is Japanese special effects, which is Power Ranger shit. So there you go. And remember, it's R-rated and it's horror. So yeah, check that out. AminoRecon.com, AmanoRecon.com. That's it from me, Ben.
Also, shout out to Comic Capital on Instagram, as well as the Everything Entertainment Club on Clubhouse. Our Twitter is SuperHousePod. Our Instagram, however, is Superhero Stuff Pod. TikTok, Superhero Stuff Pod. Vero, for the Snyder fans, Superhero Stuff Pod. My website is benwanwriter.com. My channel on YouTube is in the description below. Early Bird is an upcoming children's comic where we are revamping the art on a new edition, as well as some of the writing stuff I want to do on it, but you can check out the early version in the earl-e-bird.com website in the description below as well. My personal Instagram is benwanwriter. My son's Instagram, my cat, Alfred, is at Alfie Pennyworth Cat. And if you also have a cat, then you can also get Whiskerbox in the link that we have for our affiliates. And if you don't have a cat, but you have a dog, you can also get BarkBox for your canine friend. That is at superherostuffpod.com/shop, where we have our own links for a BarkBox where you'll get your first month off free. And as well as find other affiliate links for stuff like Amazon, eBay, and all sorts of other good shit that will not only help expand your collection, but also help us out a little bit. Over to Zack.
Well, as you can see here in the visual, if you would like to see even more of my artwork, you can go to ZacharyJacksonBrownArt.com, and you can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Also, Zachary Jackson Brown Art.
Great. All right, everybody. I guess that's it. And, you know, I want you to tell all your friends about me.
About you.
About me.
About us.
I will.
I want you to do us a favor.
Wait. Sorry. Backtrack. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Yes. Thank you.
A pleasure.
Thank you guys for having me. I got nothing to promote in particular. I'm an ESL teacher. Just do me a favor, treat people right, and support the arts you love. Thanks, all.
Thanks, man.
That's a better ending message.
And now I want you to do us a favor.
I want you to tell all your friends about us.
Woo!
What are you?
Superhero Stuff You Should Know is part of the Greenlit Podcast Network.